Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really deeply unsettling mystery of modern life. You know that creeping, quiet feeling of modern anhedonia? That sensation where, for some reason, literally nothing feels incredibly fun anymore. Well, we're going to break down the architecture of this modern boredom. We'll look at the actual science behind why our sense of joy has seemingly just flatlined. And, more importantly, we'll talk about how to get it back.
I want you to think back for a second. Do you remember when a video game could keep you vividly excited for months? Or when getting a new phone, hitting a major life goal, or just hanging out with your friends felt genuinely thrilling? Now, contrast that with how things feel today. For so many of us, there's just this persistent numbness, right? Movies feel kind of boring midway through. Games feel super repetitive. We sit there scrolling for hours on end, desperately looking for a spark, but we almost never actually feel satisfied.
Which brings us to the pleasure problem. So what actually happened here? Did the world just suddenly become less interesting, or did something change inside our own heads? Let's clear up some false suspects right out of the gate. Most people just assume they've lost their motivation. You might think you're getting lazy, or worse, that your brain is just fundamentally broken. But here's the truth. You aren't broken, and you're not lazy. Your brain is simply dealing with an unprecedented environmental hazard.
Just consider the average daily routine today. You wake up and boom, immediately check notifications. Midday hits, and it's just a sea of short videos and endless scrolling. Evening rolls around, maybe it's gaming and Netflix, and right before you sleep, yep, more scrolling. This routine represents an overwhelming volume of constant stimulation. I mean, you are exposed to more information and entertainment in a single Tuesday than humans centuries ago experienced in their entire lifetime. Your brain barely gets a single moment of actual silence.
And that brings us to a huge dopamine misunderstanding. To figure out why you feel numb all the time, we have to correct a massive public misconception about the brain's reward center. You hear the word dopamine thrown around a ton in pop psychology, but we really need to get the science straight to see exactly how it's trapping us.
See, most people confidently call dopamine the pleasure chemical, but that is entirely false. Dopamine is actually the brain's mechanism for anticipation. It's an alert system. It's literally your brain saying, hey, that looks interesting, pay attention. From an evolutionary standpoint, it drove us to survive. It pushed early humans to seek out food, explore new territories, and build essential social bonds. It's the drive to get the reward. It's not the reward itself.
Think about it. Thousands of years ago, triggering dopamine required monumental effort. Finding food, learning hard skills, exploring the literal wilderness. Contrast that with today. Modern technology has completely hacked this ancient survival wiring. Every single notification, every like, swipe, and level up triggers a tiny, artificial burst of dopamine. We are basically pulling the lever on a slot machine constantly, all day long. So why does everything feel boring? Well, when you fire off these artificial bursts of anticipation hundreds of times a day, normal life suddenly feels incredibly slow and mundane. It's like the volume on everything else gets turned way, way down. Let's look at the psychological mechanism behind why this happens.
Imagine eating your absolute favorite, richest dessert, but only once a month. It feels magical, right? Now imagine eating that exact same dessert 10 times every single day. Eventually, it entirely loses its magic. In fact, it might even make you sick. This is called hedonic adaptation. Your brain adapts to constant stimulation by raising its baseline expectations. So what used to be a peak experience just becomes your new, boring normal.
The crucial takeaway here is this. The more stimulation you receive, the more your brain expects. This is exactly why ordinary, beautiful things like reading a physical book, studying for a class, or just having a deep conversation over coffee suddenly feels so dull. They aren't inherently boring. They're just being forced to compete in your brain with extreme, constant, algorithmic novelty. And honestly, they simply can't win that race.
And this leads us straight into the social media trap. Because we all have access to infinite novelty right in our pockets, we've developed a severe, modern allergy to boredom. And this allergy, it's actively destroying our internal capacity for joy.
Here's the thing. This modern allergy to boredom is super dangerous because boredom actually serves a really critical evolutionary purpose. It pushes humans to explore, to create, to sit and think, and to imagine. But today, the absolute second boredom appears, we eliminate it. Waiting in line at the store? Pull out the phone. Sitting alone for 5 minutes? Phone. By never allowing our minds to rest in the quiet, we completely lose the ability to generate our own internal entertainment and peace.
But this overstimulation virus doesn't just ruin movies and video games. It actually infects your real life. It attacks our long-term goals and our biggest ambitions. Have you ever wondered why, even when you achieve something genuinely great, it barely registers emotionally anymore?
It's because you become trapped in this endless cycle. Step 1.
You achieve a goal, a promotion, a better grade, some more money. Step 2. The excitement lasts maybe, a few days? Step 3. Your brain, which is already totally accustomed to high stimulation, adapts incredibly rapidly. And step 4, a new target appears. It's an exhausting treadmill. You're constantly chasing satisfaction. But because your baseline is so artificially high, you rarely ever feel it deeply.
Which brings us to the hidden costs. The ripple effects of this go way, way beyond just feeling a little bit bored on a random Tuesday. The broader impact this constant need for novelty has on our daily, practical functioning is really profound.
The symptoms of this overload are literally everywhere. We're talking about a total loss of focus, drastically reduced patience, dropping motivation, stifled creativity, and even strained personal relationships. People now genuinely struggle to sit quietly with their own thoughts. Many of us literally cannot watch a single 2-hour movie without checking our phones multiple times. We treat these symptoms as personal failures, when in reality, they are just the totally predictable results of an overloaded dopamine system.
But okay, let's talk about how to actually enjoy life again. Here is the hopeful resolution to all of this. Remember earlier when I said your brain isn't broken, it's just adapting? Well, because your brain adapted to this extreme environment, it can absolutely adapt back to normal. You can reverse engineer this entire process.
To do this, we're looking at a 3-part, science-backed protocol to reset your dopamine baseline and really recover your sense of genuine enjoyment. It's pretty simple, but I'll warn you, it is not going to be easy at first. Step 1 is all about creating space. You absolutely must reduce constant stimulation. Now, you don't have to go throw your phone in the ocean, but you do need to create space between rewards. Turn off all those non-essential notifications. And most importantly, embrace the initial discomfort of not scrolling when you have 5 free minutes. At first, your brain is going to scream for a dopamine hit. Let it scream. That discomfort, that's the feeling of your baseline starting to lower.
Step 2 is to slow down. You have to literally force yourself through what your brain currently categorizes as boring tasks. Go take a walk without a podcast or music playing in your ears. Eat a meal while just looking out the window, without a screen right in front of your face. By deliberately doing these lower stimulation activities, you slowly reset your brain's baseline expectations until simply existing in a quiet moment feels enjoyable and peaceful all over again.
And finally, step 3. Do difficult things. Read a dense, challenging book. Commit to a really hard physical workout. Learn to play an instrument. Modern tech provides these cheap, instant rewards that vanish just as quickly as they appear. But real fulfillment requires effort, friction, and actual patience. The deep, hard-earned satisfaction of overcoming a challenge provides a sustained, durable sense of joy that a scrolling app can literally never replicate.
There's a really profound realization at the heart of our source material today. It says, the world hasn't lost its magic, your attention has simply become overloaded. Just think about how powerful that reframing is for a second. Life is still vibrant, it's still beautiful, and it's endlessly fascinating. You just have to turn down the artificial noise so you can actually hear the music again.
Ultimately, happiness is found in teaching your brain how to enjoy the ordinary moments again. In a world with billion-dollar algorithms fighting relentlessly for your attention, reclaiming your focus is quite literally an act of rebellion. It might just be the most valuable skill you can possibly develop today. So, the only question left for us is, are you ready to endure just a little bit of boredom to get your joy back?